logo fading in.
And he's
He's
doing it.
He's gonna do it.
I was so excited for you to bail out on that swing, man.
I loved everything about it. Don't
For
change a
real,
thing.
if I was trusting really this up there,
Oh man,
I
That's
would
just
do
boom.
it. But it's not gonna happen.
How many nails is holding that?
Sure-footed as a mountain goat.
Four
Enough for a
nails.
3-year-old.
No bolts, just nails.
Not even a screw.
No. There's like 2 screws. No, 6. Sorry, but it's
6
like
screws.
it's mounted and everything.
What about bolts and what about the I-beam? Like, are you clamped to the I-beam? That's the biggest thing.
Get your fucking engineer talk out of here.
Yeah.
Yo, lawyer, be quiet. I don't want him
if
to, I don't want him to sue himself.
All right,
All right.
let's get this going then.
Okay, down the cores. The only thing I don't know if it's a connection thing, but Yuvraj, you're like talking in the past. Like your webcam doesn't match up with your lips. It's like an old Chinese dub.
I actually prefer it that way.
Okay, let's see. I'll disconnect and hop back in. Let's see if that does it.
Look, yeah, now I
See, look at Bruce Lee.
Keep that in. Keep it in. That's called. Please tell me that was recorded.
It's been recorded this whole time. Like,
He rage quit.
just like another guy I know.
Oh, fuck, that's beautiful.
Are we still doing the same? Because if we are, we're just keeping it.
Oh
like
no,
this.
it's much better. It's good.
It was better before.
Yeah.
Oh man,
I could have just
As soon as you said-
just got you to say your lines after, but like just
Yes.
even more out of sync.
As soon as he said old Chinese dub, I was like,
Come on, you never watch any Bruce Lee movies?
Oh,
buddy,
man.
I love Bruce Lee movies.
Man, the first thought that happened in my mind is Kung Pao. That's the first one that come up.
I'm actually crying.
Well, speaking of Kung Pao, this is gonna be our team talk number 5, right? 5? Am I going insane? We've already had like 30 minutes of blooper reels here before this started. So our topic today is gonna be tech cards in Best of One. So Best of One tech cards, whatever you want to call them. What card we bring into our decks now that we're mainly every regional around here at least is still Best of One format for the time being because you're on webcams. Best of 3, you're never getting even past game 2, especially if you walk into a blue Broly. Bang. Okay,
Hey,
blue
it's
baby
coming.
player.
It's coming.
Yeah, don't worry. That'll be set 15 with the multicolor unisons.
Bio
But
Broly.
yeah,
You're first
oh
there,
god,
Blue,
Oh,
blue,
God.
get it.
don't get me on the Bio Broly stuff. But
Mm.
so we're all gonna show a tech card that we have in our deck that would normally just be a side deck card.
Yeah, we switched it up, Jay. You have to show it now, so go get your card.
Yeah, go get your card. Get the hell out of here. I have mine here. When everyone was watching Karl swing, I was getting and grabbing it, letting this record. Thank God I did. But who wants to start here? Who got the idea? Let's go. You know what, Armando, you already had it flailing out saying, hey, look at the one I got. I got 30 ideas. If you guys don't have one, I'll kill you. So there you go. Boom.
King of the
I
North
did-
starts.
Yeah, I did threaten swift death if you guys didn't have a best of one tech. So again, best of one kind of sucks as a format, but it's all we have right now, at least in our quote unquote competitive Dragon Ball scene. And again, some of that's different. There's now events opening up. We're now seeing where best of threes coming back. That being said, a lot of Bandai events are still best of one, and they're all worth playing in because they all have great prizing. Like some of the only ways to get champ packs. So my best of one tech, if you've seen any of my black decks, is Petrification. Really quickly, it's a counterattack. You negate, and then you can drop a card from your hand. And if you do, you can choose one of your opponent's battle cards, ignoring barrier. It can't attack, be placed in your opponent's combo area, or activate its skills until the end of your next turn. So the end of my next turn, if I'm playing it against you. Common ruling issue with this is because you resolve all the counterattacks at once. Let's just say your opponent's attacking, for example, it's best of one format, so you're going to see Android 18 build decks. Your opponent attacks you with the 5-drop Frieza that negs the board 30k, and then you mill 2 for each card. You slap down Petrification. You resolve the counterattacks, drop a card, choose the Frieza. Now it can't activate skills. So you're in the counter step, your counter resolves, then your opponent's auto skill resolves. Petrification stops the auto skill from resolving, meaning the Frieza doesn't get to minus anything, meaning your opponent probably just tapped out for a play that's going to get them killed. So I run 1 in at least all my decks. In best of 3, I'll usually main deck 2 inside a third, or main deck 1 inside 2 more. Between my main and side, I always like to have 3 copies of Petrification. I think if you're running a black deck, I think it's one of the best black cards in the game, and I think you should have it in your main deck for best of 3 or best of 1 format. That's pretty much all I have to say about Petrification, and then we'll talk about other generic good cards afterwards, I guess. I'm going to toss it over to Yuvraj because he looks so interested in my Petrification card.
No, it's solid. My best of 1 tech, I'm mainly playing red for the last few sets. Honestly, I was recently Hidden Ambitions, King Vegeta Hidden Ambitions. It's the really quickly counter if your leader card and energy are all mono red, and your opponent has 3 or more energy. You negate the counter skill. If they don't pay for the energy with the cost of 1 and they don't use energy to pay for it. So the reason I really like this card is red going up against stuff like Baby really suffered because Baby could tap out and then use D-Magic by sparking, and they kind of have access to all their floodgates again. So, you just want to pressure in that situation. This kind of punishes them for using that kind of mindset. Also really good in the green matchups where opponents will rely on Dormant Potential Unleash, especially because if they have the Unison up, they're never going to pay energy for that, right? So, they dormant on your kill turn or the turn, you wait until you establish a bit of a board, you eat out a couple of them. That one turn when you want to swing for game, you drop him on the dormant. Their dormant's wasted, and they've pitched a card for it as well. And then it's kind of just like you get to go, you go in.
Now, does that negate the counter?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
they
like
wouldn't
the
drop
full,
one.
it's counter skill.
So they wouldn't drop one from the dormant, but
Or
something
dormant,
like sparking, they would still take the life and then
Yeah.
have to even up an attack. And you can play that for
Yeah.
free somehow, right?
No, not for free. So you just you tap 1 for it, and then it plays out onto the field as well. So
You're
it's a
thinking
free
the
5-2
floodgate.
combo after that. Yeah.
I'm thinking you're right. I'm thinking the neg 10 floodgate that's free when you're at
Yeah,
3
no,
life.
that card's amazing, but unfortunately it's not generic enough. It's just mono red Saiyans.
Even
So,
still, a 1 energy counter that doesn't require, like all the other red counters, like the red yellow one or the red blue one, you have to
Yeah.
pitch a card. So it's nice to be 1 energy and not eat as much
Exactly.
resources.
And just one
Exactly,
energy kind of
and-
wild.
Mhm.
and the best thing about this guy though is, I mean, in a best of 1 format, you just play it as the 1 of, but then after you counter, you dump it on the attack you're swinging and you combo it on it as well. So it's like it's a 2 for 1, right? Like because it comes into play as part of the counter play. As part of the counter skill itself. So you negate the counter play, and then you're like, all right, I'm swinging for game here. I'm just gonna place this on top as well as a nice little combo. In a best of 1, I only play the 1 in. I played 1 in King Piccolo when I was playing that, and now even in King Vegeta, just the 1 of. In a best of 3, probably similar to you, Armando, I'd probably play 2, but I'd put him into the side because obviously he's not amazing in every matchup. When Mecha was kind of going wild, it's really good, obviously, but you kind of have to save it for the 1 counter that you want to stop. Comparatively, you're gonna always go to 3 energy against those decks anyways. So it's pretty much live in all those games, but against like red and black, not really. So you don't really need it. So that's why it would probably be a 2 of in the side in the best of 3 format for me. For best of 1, we're keeping it as a 1 of. I don't see the point of putting a second right now. Maybe as the next format develops, it's possible. Special shout out, it's not even a tech. He's a death ball. Armando knows how much I love this card.
He always has it.
Oh.
It's a 1 of in his deck, and he always has it. He always has it when I dump for game. He always has it when he dumps on me. Like
It's my basil.
it's such a dumb card. Like he's got 30
so
cards
good.
in his deck. He's like 25k combo power.
The best part, and like you neg on leader swings, man. You can neg the leader itself, and it's just like, oh, that feels so good.
It is.
So
I
did
mean,
King Vegeta.
it's
Oh, dude, neg this. You neg this, and then you drop. Say they have a small combo card on the field, you get rid of that too with the King Vegeta leader effect. It's just the best feeling. But yeah, that's kind of it for my best of one techs. Nothing revolutionary, but I think they're good cards.
Yep.
And whoever wants can take the wheel next.
You gotta pass it off, man. It's like a torch.
All
This is
right,
the
we'll give it to Karl.
season.
We'll pass it off to Karl right here in the middle.
My favorite Team Berserk member. Sorry, guys.
Okay.
Same.
Well, I can go like with one really easy. It's like against blue or something specific, but like something with going changing history. Usually it's a good. For me, I'm playing mostly a Gogeta right now. So for me, if I'm seeing against blue or something, it's a card that it does a lot against the blue archetype and everything for untapping energy, and it's like easy gettable if you drop it to the warp or anything with power burst and everything. So I think it's a really good card. And one special card I really think it's a card not to forget is the Doggos, the Unison Killer, and I think it's a card like it could be good in any matchup or any format, because for two getting a beater that can kill Unison or problematic. So that's what.
And
Yeah.
jumping back to your changing history, I think it's important to note that there's like there's one of those in every color. I think like green is a Vegeta, red is a Mai, blue is Borgos, I think the Bardock's crew, and yellow I think is Chi-Chi. Which I mean, Earthling, like they're all relevant traits and keywords and that kind of stuff. But it's a barrier draw one at worst. So at worst, it's a deck cycle and 5k combo power that stays on the board. If you're running Bulmer or something like that, it's a blocker too. So I agree. I think that's a really, really good best of one card.
Yeah. And
especially going into the next set when we've agreed that like blue is probably the most well-positioned color. So I agree wholeheartedly. I don't agree on the Doggos. Like I just picked up a play set of the dogs, but that card sucks, man.
Nah, man, I like it. I like it a lot. I like it.
I personally like the dogs. Even when I was running it in Mecha Frieza, it stopped some really annoying unisons early on, and being able to remove them just with that pressure was.
For 2 energy, if you have the setup, it's good. I agree.
If it was searchable, I think it'd be really good, just based on the fact that you can Aegis off of it if it's not relevant that matchup. But like again, if you're missing other cards, I still think it's cute and good. But
Jay, take us out. What's your?
Well, you won't let Karl hand off. You got to do it for him.
No, it's cool. It's cool. Going down.
Okay.
You're right. No, Karl, go ahead. Pick who you hand off. Jay's right. I overstepped.
Yeah, I'm gonna throw it up to Nick anyway.
Ooh, Jay's stuff.
He doesn't like Jay.
Nobody likes Jay. He's always correcting me.
The engineers like me.
I think mine right now for kind of dipping back into blue is going to be Intoxicated by Justice. Now that like the biggest issue for blue before is it only had essentially activate mains to get rid of cards that were problems. So if you built up a True Fighting Spirit board, then you're kind of screwed. Now that you got the Bojack package and you throw Intoxicated by Justice on top of that, you could end up, even if they have 3 on board, you could whittle them down to either 1 or 2. Do one of these, they're left with 1 or none on board. With some of the bottom deck effects, and maybe you only warp 1 card. Like I think at the end of the day, that's just with how blue is currently positioned. I think, obviously outside of Blue Baby because it can't. But I think that mixed in with the Bojack package is very powerful right now, and I think it deserves to be on board.
Don't play your field with Blue Baby. Intoxicated by Justice. That card actually slapped me in the regional by the Bojack player. The SS3 player. He kept bottom decking my 1-drops that would stop him from untapping. So I couldn't at the end of the day, I couldn't actually tax him on anything. Plus, it's got a dope Goku Black image on it.
Yep.
Very true.
Most important part. Yeah. I guess I'll pass it off to Rosas just to make sure that Jaudat's last.
Well,
Thank you.
in the spirit
Appreciate
of making him last, I'll go next. I was thinking, I'm just like, I played King Cold today. Green, what's a one of I have in my deck? Zamasu, the green 5-drop, but that's not the one I'm going to pick because I'd run that in best of 3 anyway. I run it as a one of in the deck. I like that. It lets me change my Frieza into something that's warping a card every time it swings and it's indestructible. So I was thinking, like, that's not really a best of 1 tech. What is a best of 1 tech is actually my Supreme Kai deck. Maybe I'll finish this really fast, pass it off to Jay now that he's gone. But
he's had it with us already. Man.
This bad boy here, the Vegex Mastery Merge, the TP I think from set 12.
Oh, that's a spicy card.
Yeah, so he's basically a different version of a Deadly Defender where your opponent's cards that are 15k power or more can only attack him, and specifically cards. So leader, most unisons are more 15k or more. This works in the matchups that they have one swinger, they have one big beater, whatever. I can just literally keep my super combos and combo this off so I can get to turn 4 and play my Rebellu or play my Fu, and depending on how the matchup is, if I want to go slow or want to just gun them down on that turn, then I'll have my full gas because my leader's going to be protected by this. When it sucks is against Xeno Gogeta when they have all their 1-drops. If they're doing the 1-drop package and they go all 5k, this card becomes absolutely useless because I'm tapping 3 out to do nothing. This card has saved me in matchups that turn 3, there's not really too much crazy stuff you can do with that deck. You want to wait till turn 4 when you can have your Rebellu, Overwhelm a card. You have 6 bunch of 6 costs out because you can get the thwarting out that turn. So let's just go Rebellu's 2 takes 2 energy. The thwarting the Dark Planet Gogeta, that's another energy, and I still have an Overwhelm. Actually, no, I would have to do the Overwhelm first if I wanted to do that, but I would still have that with the leader because I get 2 Overwhelms with the Unison. So I think this just gets me to that turn 4 in those matchups. Anything else, I'm just going to sit on negates that turn.
Now, that one is it's Union Fusion from Warp as well, isn't it?
Union Patara from Warp. So it is different. So it's not like I can do them from my hand. Like the Gogetas, if you really, really need to, you can do them from hand. Patara has to be on the field, but the good thing about that is Patara isn't limited by power like Fusion is. So I can have my super combo Xeno Gogeta and my Trunks, like Time Patrol Trunks, and those are 2 targets I'm almost always going to have my Warp anyway, and those both work because Patara doesn't matter what the power level is on them. They just have to be the character names and
I'm
from
going
the
to
Warp.
side deck that Vegeta Zeno, man. That's actually
It's a great
really
card
good tech.
because it's
He's
also
not running the
barrier.
Trunks and the Vegeta Zeno.
It's also barrier. The only, like, another matchup, King Cold, absolutely useless because turn 3, what else comes in on the turn 3 on King Cold? Frieza, and he's just going to activate main, put this to the drop. Like, it doesn't matter. That's why I'd say if this was best of 3 format, I'd probably have 3 of these in my side deck just because it's I'm milling stuff all the time, so I do see this go to the drop a lot. But in best of 1, running this as 1, I seem to get it when I need it. And that's my best of 1
You can
tech.
grab it off of the Super Saiyan 4 TP.
Yeah, if
Yeah,
I was running that in that
no.
deck.
Beyond all limits.
Yeah. But, Jay, you came back. Did you find your card?
Yeah, I found my card.
No, I didn't say it
was
was your
just,
torch yet. I was going to call up Matt, see if you want to do his first. Go for it. We torch you long enough.
I will
Jay's
wait.
my- He's
Watch
my
it be a
real
leader.
favorite. He's my real favorite Team Berserk member.
I'll wait for Matt to finish and then I'll start.
Get out of here.
Okay, so just looking at all the different decks I've played, I've been tinkering with different colors, different types of archetypes, control, aggro, and there's one consistent card that I have in all those decks, and it's Bardock Awakened Instincts, just for the draw power. More than that, it's a 20k free overwhelm for 4. You could do that early on turn 2 if you want to be aggressive with it, get more cards in hand. Allow you to fish for some cards. I'm not sure if anybody else wants to add more to that.
I love that card. I think it sucks that Beerus got hit, so that card unjustly took a hit in its playability. But I think that card's awesome. I was actually running that in Majin Vegeta even without the green Beerus. But it's the fact that it's a draw 2, drop 1, and it goes to the draw means you can run different strategies that you utilize drop area cards and still be able to salvage something out of it. I agree. I think that card's awesome. I think it's one of the best overwhelms in the game. To me, it's a little bit outclassed by Fighting Against Fate, and it's a little bit outclassed by Secret Identity for the free overwhelms. But if you're playing a combo or a sequencing oriented deck, and you need to filter to see pieces, you can't beat the draw 2, drop 1 attached to a 20k body. That I definitely agree with.
It's honestly essentially like the new age Time Patrol Trunks. Like when it originally came out, that was like the generic overwhelm you ran if you wanted to filter. Now it's Bardock. I was playing him in my red Broly deck just because, again, you dig 2 cards deeper, get rid of one of your dead cards in hand, especially in decks that, you run a lot of pieces that you don't need to see in hand that brick. You can get rid of them and set up another overwhelm if you need.
And I think that's the clutch too, is that it's not like or the intersecting fates where you pick up 2 and you drop 1. It's like you draw 2 and then one of your other dead cards from your hand you get rid of.
Yeah.
So it helps you sculpt, which hand sculpting is like in the way the game is being played now. Hand sculpting is like 50% of your matchup.
Yeah, and then if, like you said earlier, if it's a strategy that needs your drop to have certain pieces, it's still solid. I know in some, not myself personally, but a couple of players back when Vegex was still popular with the Gogeta package, they would use it, get the 2 draws, just to set up the Gogeta targets for their warp the next turn. Right? Because it lets you again put certain key pieces that you want in there.
Frank runs that in 18 mil.
I was literally about to say, I'm like, if Frank was here, he'd be going nuts about that because he uses that to get rid of summoning sickness and then to dig for cards, which poor guy today couldn't find a 16. In the last match, I was just like, oh my god, he's digging so deep and still can't find a 16.
Dude, that card was like every Android 21's player's best friend when that deck dropped with leader. It was just like, all right, well, we need to get rid of this every second turn. Yeah, let me just fire it up real quick.
Dirty.
So, as a special mention, there's Hunt of the Demon God. I think Hunt of the Demon God. Yeah, that one. It's one of the expansion cards. If you don't already have these, it's very similar to the one Yuvraj mentioned, but it's a counter, and it's 1 energy, non-specific. If your leader and all your energy are the same color, and your opponent has 4 or more energy, you can negate a free counter with an energy cost of 1. So it lets you add counter to any deck, which is huge, and it also has a Spirit Boost skill. It's not as great. It just warps. It's body removal, but the counter for 1 energy being generic is actually nuts.
The funny thing about that card is that I saw that being misplayed today at the 3 mana tournament.
What happened?
Someone used it. There were 4 energy, everything there, and I'm just like, I'm not gonna interrupt the match. But it was it was Mecha versus Mechikobura, and the Mecha player used Nimbus, and he didn't use it off of the Frieza effect. He hard casted Nimbus for the 1 energy, so that becomes off the table. You can't use.
Oh, so he
used
robbed.
it. He used it, and then he's just like, yeah, I get to use it for free because you use the 1 cost. I'm like, what the hell is he talking about? Like what? Like you completely read it backwards.
Yeah, without paying its energy's cost. I get the confusion.
That's what I'm just like. I'm
that's-
like, I'm not sticking my beacon.
No,
I'm just
for people watching it, this card stops stuff like Wolfang Fist, like Dormant Potential,
Yeah.
or if Mecha played it for free.
Magic and
Yeah.
Sparking Negates.
Yeah, you
Basically
don't
all the Sparking ones.
Mhm.
That's the way I read the King Vegeta card, the Hidden Ambitions, the first time when they revealed it. I was like, this is amazing. Every one drop negate, goodbye. I'm playing 4, and I'm like, oh, wait. Never mind.
Other big best of one tech card I'm loving is Jiren. I ran this in my baby list. It's the best, like, the best.
I remember you making fun of me for putting that in about a month or two ago.
I'll still make fun of you today for putting it in. Doesn't change the fact that it's a good card. Yeah, I remember like, why would you waste a slot on that? To be fair, you were playing Mecha, and Mecha doesn't need to get to 7 energy to beat Baby. But yeah, it like against, again, I think blue's going to be one of the most well positioned colors next set, and you're going to see Android 17 because it didn't get banned. So having a 1-of that at worst is a counterplay draw 1 attached to a 15k body isn't bad. It's something to consider, I would say. Anybody else have secondary cards they want to discuss for best of one tech?
I'm gonna move on to my card number 2.
Oh, exciting!
Oh,
I'm gonna say Fu. Yes, it's a turn 6 play. When you get to turn 6, it's a card you want, especially when you play control.
Against blue, so good.
If you can land.
That way it gets God Sealing. Yeah, excellent.
yeah. Then you try it again the next turn.
But
Yeah.
okay, honestly, black can't interact with it. Red can't interact with it. Green barely I actually don't think green can interact with it either.
No,
So
no,
it's
because by the time the freeze is on the board, it's negated, so it doesn't matter.
only
Well, seven or
yellow.
less, yeah.
Only yellow and blue can even answer this card. So like as a top end, I agree with Jay. That's an awesome tech card. In at least half your matchups.
And then my third card. Don't laugh. I'm gonna say if you can land this guy.
Come
Yeah,
on, no one else
super.
laughed. I was just trying to. Fuck
The
it.
budget.
Well, I guess you
secret.
can't because you are gonna land him. He has to flex. So my bad. So you are gonna land him, but it's not target. It can't be removed from your battle area by an opponent's skill. And that's big in my opinion. Just so you can keep him on the board.
For budget secret, he's awesome. I agree.
Nick had 1 second or 1 minute.
He's opening up the briefcase. He's getting the secrets.
He's pulling out his anti-Jaudat tech.
But that'd be my 3 cards that I would be
Um,
saying, hey, secret card or one.
Yeah, I
cards
don't
that are
think
good to check in.
I don't think a secret rare is in the spirit of our 1-of techs.
Yeah.
Yeah, sell Xeno.
Wait a second. Okay, it is. A
I mean,
secret
quite
card.
literally, it is a 1-of tech.
But it's against the spirit of it.
No, it is a promo card, and everybody has it. It's just overlooked.
That's like me saying Cold Bloodlust is like your 1-of.
So spicy.
But not everybody runs it. I think Mecha Frieza brought back Cold Bloodlust.
Yeah, it's
It
true.
was barely ever used since then.
Well,
Well,
what
'cause
other
there's no good
Frieza
leader
army
to use it.
leader? There's no Frieza army leaders that
The
anybody's
last
gonna
one was
use.
Broly.
I'm about to play yellow in my red Broly list so I can play Cold Bloodlust in it. I don't even know what that is. Oh, chilled. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is extremely important for a lot of green decks. If you're playing against a really smart player who is going to kind of counter moving around the Demigod Unison and just wait for you to get rid of it for a more powerful Unison in the late game, this is really nice because it allows you to just get the most value out of your Demigra to do the -3 ability and then just move on. And then when they want to play their, because it's usually just going to be a 3-cost anyways with Barrier, that's going to be the problem. Even if you're playing Hand Destruction, this still hits it. In worst case scenario, it's a green Abuni. So at least it has the 2 abilities. I think this is well deserving of a kind of like a 1-in-1 ratio for best of 3, but 1 or 2 of in green decks for best of 1 tech. Yeah, I think it belongs in there for sure.
And then the obvious ones, Fighting Against Fate, Secret Identity. Those are good 1 or 2 ofs. Depending on if your deck
Yeah.
needs aggro removal.
I think those
But-
are probably like the generic overwhelms right now, right? Like the go-tos.
Yeah, if you don't got them, you're really late.
Yeah, so I think that's it for our best of one tech conference. Did anyone else have any cards burning a hole in their mind they wanted to talk about?
Not really burning a hole. You did mention it, so I figured I'd bring it up again. Just for Reds, Wolfang Fist still good as a one of. It's definitely fallen off from what it from before, but I think
it'll
so.
come back because if Mecha's
Yeah.
taking a break, then it gains value again.
I hope so. I got
Yeah, like the biggest thing was when I'd play against Mecha, it was no longer free because of your the SS4 Goku, the one that puts the extra energy cost. So that's where I just lost value. I'm like, if I was gonna pay one for it anyways, I wouldn't want to just charge it like as soon as I saw that. But I think it's still a good card. It can remove small beaters or problem cards, especially with King Vegeta. It can remove two technically for a bigger card. The other thing would be for Jay's number 3. I guess red doesn't really have as big of an issue because you have the Kaioken for that spot removal. So 25k and then the 10k from the King Vegeta leader hits that Sin 35 perfectly. And I only know this because I did this to a friend like literally last night. So
I love that
um,
your sync is off now, and it's
Oh.
like I'm enjoying it.
Might as well put a
it's
yellow
just for you,
jumpsuit
man.
on.
It's free. But yeah, I think I know some people are leaving Kaiokens out of their decks. Best of 3, makes sense if you don't want to main it, but I think best of 1 you kind of have to. Red doesn't have that much removal in terms of barrier removal. This is the best spot barrier removal for red, and it's 2 energy. You can't interact with it, right? Like it doesn't matter. You don't have to play the card. If you're going against something that goes wide, nuke the whole board because it has deflect. So, like it's a win-win.
Yeah, it's a good flexible card. I agree.
Yeah. Well, that's it on my end, though. Anyone else?
I'm out of spice.
Carl's playing Yu-Gi-Oh right now.
Carl's just like, Twin Twisters is the best card in the game right now.
Or
Yeah,
he's wondering
blue
how he's
eyes.
gonna reinforce that swing in the back.
No, I was looking through cards and see if something comes up. But no.
Sounds good.
All
All
right.
right, that was fun, guys. Thanks for coming to our team talk, and hopefully you enjoyed it. I had fun, so I don't really care if you enjoyed it, but thanks, guys.
There we go. Come
Do
on.
it! Wrecking ball.
I'm so worried about him, man.
I think I know what's stopping him. It's not falling. It's that his kids in the morning going, "What happened to the swing?"
it's his kids waking up to the crash, man.
No, let's be true. It's the fucking sounds gonna make when that fucking thing's gonna go down.
Again,
Oh.
it's not on a steel beam.
It's a wooden
Centrifugal
swing.
force.
It's a wooden string. It's all wood. Don't separate the families.
All right. You gentlemen have a good night. Thanks for that.
Yeah.
You too, man.
Have a good one, guys.
See everyone later.